So welcome back to the 46th Annual Convention of the Freedom from Religion Foundation. This is our second full day. Just a couple of housekeeping issues. I think there was some confusion about where the meals are, and so if you have tickets for the lunch and dinner, it's level 1, this is level 4, so you have to take the escalator down 2 flights. I wanted to give a special shout out to some of our staff, and I'm going to start with Bruce Johnson. He's there in the back, the AV section, and his crew of camera workers, Aaron Johnson and Stephanie Benachek, for that fabulous work last night. I don't know if you noticed how wonderful their camera work was. And also helping is the audio for the arts, and we have Noah Gilfillan. That was quite a production last night that he had to handle. Buzz Kemper and Tori Neals here. And we also have stage manager Mallory Johnson, and then our entire staff who are helping you and our convention planners. I just want to give them a special thanks. I'm going to turn over the emceeing this morning to Sam Grover, who joined our staff as an attorney 10 years ago. He started as an intern, and now he specializes in litigation.
All right. Good morning. Is the mic working? All right, great. Good morning, everyone. So we have a jam-packed morning session, and I'm really excited to get to all of it. So to be brief, I'm Sam Grover, and welcome to this, my audition for Godless Gospel. I don't need Jesus to give me a smile. Thank you. All right. The other reason I'm up here this morning, I have the enviable job today of emceeing the morning program, which means that I get to introduce the people who then introduce the people who you came here to see. So first to the microphone is PJ Slinger, who most of you may remember from about 1 hour ago when he gave the introduction to the Nothing Fails Like Prayer invocation. PJ is the editor of our paper, Free Thought Today, and also my personal curling coach. So please welcome PJ.
At 6'4", I'm only the second tallest person to appear on the stage so far. So I'm here to introduce unique presenters for the first time in FFRF convention history, I believe. We have 2 drag queens that are going to introduce our student activists. The first one will come up and speak for about 5 minutes and then introduce their activist, and then I'll come back out and introduce the second one. First off, we have Brianna Banks. Over the course of the last 19 years, on top of producing and hosting drag events, she has been performing across Wisconsin, across the Midwest, and even around the country. She's also been a backup dancer and helped many others for different pageant systems throughout her career. She won Miss Gay Wisconsin US of A in 2011 and Miss Club Wisconsin in 2018. Please welcome Brianna Banks.
You know, drag queens love a loud, thunderous introduction. Let's try that one more time. Make some noise for me, you guys. Y'all look so beautiful. How do I look? Fabulous is the right word. Well, PJ did all of my introductions, so that's all I have for you guys today. No, I'm just here. Is there a way to raise this microphone? Oh, there is. Oh. There we go. I want to say good morning, Freedom from Religion convention goers. Make some noise for you guys. Like PJ said, my name is Brianna Banks. I've been doing drag and I am of age times 2. No, I'm 41 years of age, and I've been doing drag for 19 years. I travel all over the state of Wisconsin, Iowa, Minneapolis, Chicago. I've been to West Hollywood, Dallas, Miami, all over. You name it, I probably have been there, and it's always a good time. So if you're looking for a fabulous drag performer in your city, you let me know, okay? Perfect. Through our performances, our activism, and partnership and participation in Pride events, you guys, drag queens have become powerful symbols of the LGBTQIA+ empowerment. Their presence serves as a reminder that everyone deserves to be seen, heard, and celebrated, regardless of gender identity and/or sexual orientation. Drag queens like myself, we play pivotal roles in the resistance against police violence and discrimination. Our activism and resilience helped elevate drag as a form of resistance and empowerment within our own LGBTQIA+ community. Yes, woo! We do a lot, whether you know it or not. We do more than just dance on a stage in a bar and get drunk, okay? We like to empower our community, speak up, and stand up for what's right, and make sure people are doing what's right. Amen? Amen. Any attempt to ban or restrict these performances is, in my opinion, against the First Amendment and to the principles of free expression that have allowed culture and the arts to flourish right here in our own country of the United States of America. I am here to welcome Marcus, I hope they get the last name right, Stovall, Marcus Stovall, who uses he, him pronouns. They are from West Texas A&M University, and along with their help and some other people, they have sued the university university president over canceling a drag show that was sponsored by many, many other groups and participants on campus. Texas ban on certain drag shows has been ruled unconstitutional, okay? A federal judge stated that Senate Bill 12 would have prohibited performers from dancing suggestively or wearing certain prosthetics in front of children, which is not what we do. I'm not here to groom you. I'm not a pedophile. I'm just here to live life, pay my taxes, and have a good time. Amen? So, along with Marcus and a bunch of other people in the local area, they had sued the state saying it violated their First Amendment. So, he will be one of our student activists that we award today for their continued fight for what is always right in their very own community and beyond. So, please rise. Oh, you guys are so good today. And help me welcome our first award recipient from Texas, Marcus Stovall. Congratulations. Make some noise for Marcus.
A little over a year ago, at my new student orientation for college, I attended the organization fair. I was anxious and alone and acutely aware that I was uncomfortable in my own skin, but I was very determined to find somewhere I was going to fit in. First, I went up to every single religious group set up and I asked every one of them the same question: are y'all okay with gay people? In every group, every single one said no. They'd say I was welcome to come and change my ways at best, a flat out no at the worst, but each one hurt just a little bit more. Once I ran out of religious groups, I walked up and down the rows of tables, eyes on one table covered in colors and flags that was pretty hard to miss, trying to build up the confidence to go and talk to them. But after making at least 4 or 5 passes, enough that the people sitting at the table were like, what is that person doing? I finally built up the courage to go up and ask one weird question: are you guys gay? Followed by a question that makes my heart break to think about: is that safe? Now it's a funny story of how I met one of my closest friends in the world and fellow plaintiff bear and got involved with Spectrum to begin with. But I think that the choice of those 2 questions speak for itself. I've lived in the Texas Panhandle for my entire life. For those who have never been, you're really not missing out on much. It's unbearably hot in the summers, freezing cold in the winters, and in the spring and fall, it flops between the two in the very same day. The amount of wind and dirt that the wind picks up poses a pretty convincing argument that the region never actually left the Dust Bowl, and the handful of times we get rain every year, it floods. The nature tends to reflect the inhabitants as well. It's one of the most conservative regions in Texas and, by extension, the country. For just shy of 20 years now, I've lived in the Amarillo area and experienced the culture there. From billboards on major roadways claiming that vaccines cause autism and that evolutionists are going to hell, to having my car trashed in high school and having faggot yelled at me on my college campus, I've seen and lived the hate and intolerance the region breeds. While asking, is that safe, seems like a pretty silly question, I still remember the fear that just gripped me that summer afternoon as I built up the courage to take that step away from religion towards myself. Unfortunately, from what I've experienced the past 6 months, if I had to answer my own question, I'd say no. After our university's president, Walter Windler, who students have started fondly calling Windy, canceled our drag show based on little more than religious superiority, I witnessed a surge of hate I never could have imagined. I've been called a pervert, delusional, a degenerate, mentally ill, an enemy of the state, a freak, and many other things that I will not repeat in polite company. People send us threats, hate comments, saying that our country needs to bring back asylums and place those people in them where they belong, that not submitting to this gender assigned to you by God is rebelling against God's natural order. And one of my personal favorites, quote, "The only kind of drag show we need around here is 50 miles per hour down a backcountry road behind a truck." The weeks around the show, I couldn't walk around campus without a police escort. And as we gathered to peacefully protest, state troopers surrounded us on the roof of Old Main with rifles in case one of the countless threats we received came true. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus, couldn't eat, couldn't muster the courage to leave my dorm and go to class because all I could feel were eyes on me, judging me, hating me, damning me. Do I regret it? Not at all. Did it affect me? Absolutely. When I found out that the award I was receiving was called the Out of God's Closet Activism Award, I remember laughing at just how accurate that name was. I feel like my life has been a series of battles between the expectations of the religion I was raised in and the person I am inside. Religion used to be a huge part of my life. I'm not sure if I ever believed in God, but by God, I was afraid of him. I was raised religious, grew up in church, won a pair of headphones in the 6th grade for being an active and enthusiastic participant in youth group. By all accounts, I played the part of a devout believer. I went to youth group 3 days a week, invited my friends, looked down on my peers who didn't go to church, made a point of carrying my Bible around school and praying in the cafeteria, and always wanted to be in the clique of the cool girls in the youth group. For some reason, I never quite made it in. I'm not sure when all of that changed for me. Maybe it was when I was 13 and I kissed my best friend, hidden from the eyes of the world and our parents, behind her closet door. The irony was lost on me at the time. Maybe it was when I became acutely aware that I was deeply, deeply uncomfortable in my own body and noticed that every time I imagined myself all grown up, I saw a man for some weird reason that probably doesn't actually mean anything and shouldn't be addressed. It could have been when I figured out that I was queer and, by definition, was now doomed to an eternity in hell with no hope of redemption as long as I had these thoughts. I never believed in a loving God. I believed in the boogeyman. Getting over that fear and finally leaving God's closet once and for all is a journey I'm very much still in the midst of. While writing this speech, I realized that despite everything I've done, there's still a part of me that is deeply afraid of being controversial. I'm afraid of offending religion. I'm out of God's closet, but like some kind of black hole, I can still feel it pulling towards me and trying to suck me back in. I've been told my entire life that my existence is inherently political. I'm the scary transgender person that the media is warning you about. I like cooking and embroidery and my aquarium. I always cry when the dog dies in movies. And the only music I listen to is 2000 emo. I'm obviously very scary and you should be absolutely terrified of me. I can't tell you what God is. I can't stand up here and pretend that I know. What I can tell you is that the people who have had the biggest positive influences on my life have been the people that the church taught me to be afraid of. the first people to ever show me true kindness, empathy, human understanding, and love were the queers, the sinners, and the atheists. I'm pretty sure that I don't believe in hell, but if I'm wrong, there's gonna be some damn good company down there. And this is why what we're doing is so important. Despite pushback and hatred from religious zealots like WT's own lovely Wendy, if I'm able to show just one person that it's possible to live your life how you want it and be genuine to yourself, it's all worth it. I remember what it felt like to be the closeted kid, alienated in his own skin, but far too afraid to do anything about it. I remember what it was like to fight against everything I was taught my entire life and go up and ask Bear, is that safe? If the protests we held on campus showed even just one student that it's okay to be gay and that you will be welcomed at WT, it was worth it. If the $7,000 we raised to donate to the Trevor Project saved even just one life of one queer youth, it was worth it. The fact that I'm able to stand in front of you all now and be comfortable in my own body means it's worth it. My name is Marcus. I'm a queer trans man. I'm an atheist, and I'm done hiding in God's closet.
Hello again. Now I'd like to introduce the second drag queen, Latina Envy, who has had the pleasure of traveling around Wisconsin in an all-Latina group with her drag sisters. She's also performed as a backup dancer at a national pageant with Wisconsin's 2023 Entertainer of the Year. She's known to be a sassy Latina on stage, but she's more than that behind the scenes, working as a 4K teacher and acting alongside a local theater group. Please welcome Latina Envy.
Good morning, good morning. I guess, I love a responsive audience. I guess a little life update. I no longer work as a 4K teacher, and it's not because I do drag and because I'm trying to groom them, but it's because they are just a handful, and actually I started working for a nonprofit organization here in Madison that centers around working with Latina youth. So I'm still working with children, and I'm still grooming them so they can all turn out to be drag queens. I mean, who wouldn't want to be this beautiful, you know? But before I continue on, I would like to honor my brothers and sisters of the Ho-Chunk tribe. So let's just take a few seconds here to acknowledge the land acknowledgement. So it is to honor their legacy of resistance and resilience. So if you can just touch the ground or just, make that acknowledgement yourselves, and thank you. We are on stolen land, and this land used to be called Taysho. So just for a little friendly reminder for all of our outside visitors, thank you for coming in to our lovely land. I would also like to recognize the staff who was able to put together this event, and all the staff that's working as well. Thank you. Without you, give it up for you guys, yes. And all of you as well, because without all of you, this event wouldn't be possible, and we would not be standing here looking this good. So enough about me as I continue to read about myself. Yes, yes, I am a local drag queen, but besides that, I am also an educator and mentor in the community. As an educator, it is our job and responsibility to inspire and empower youth voices, and by doing so is by being active representation in the classrooms. Not only am I a strong Latina trans woman, but I am also just a lover, and I inspire all my kids to inspire all my kids to do, to do whatever they can to make themselves feel comfortable in all of these spaces, because it is very hard to exist in this world where so many systems are created to be against you just because you're different. There is nothing wrong with the color of my skin. There's nothing wrong with how I feel inside. There is nothing wrong with me putting on just a little eyelash and lip gloss to stand here in front of you all. I can get a little political because as a drag queen, it is our job to advocate for equal rights. And not only do we advocate for queer rights, but women's rights and immigration rights. You know, as drag queens, we are given a platform. And if we are not using this platform for good, then why are we doing what we do? And there's also another answer to that. Another reason why we do drag is because drag helps teach you self-love. When I first started doing drag 2 years ago, I was still a closeted kid. I wasn't very closeted because you could spot me a mile down the road, you know, bouncing around. I'm super flamboyant. But to my family, I was very closeted. I grew up in a very conservative Christian household, and I learned to love and appreciate myself for who I am because I was taught that God or Creator has made you to be how you were, and it is my job to live on His green earth, being as queer and as fabulous as I want. because I was not created to be a sinner. I was created to be love. And so when I was asked about being nominated to be a presenter here today, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. You know, you hear freedom from religion and you think, oh, this is another, you know, religious group. What are we going to be doing? Who are you guys representing? You know, I was surprised to walk into this room this morning to be the youngest person in the room. You know? And no shade, no tea to any of you because you guys all look fabulous today. But I really was thinking, and I was doing my research, and I came across a little ad by Mr. Ron Reagan, and he ended his statement with, "Not afraid to burn in hell." And you know, I let that sit with me for a bit. I was just kind of wondering, what does this mean? Like we're gonna burn in hell? Like, is this really a thing that we're still afraid of? And you know, I said, you know what? Same sis. I am also ready to burn in hell. I would not be standing here 6'2" with my little kitten heels, looking this gorgeous, had I not been in love with the idea of burning in hell. I do drag because it has helped heal me in numerous ways. It has helped me appreciate life in more ways than I can count. And it has given me this newfound passion to be alive, to be representing not only myself, the trans community, the Latina community, but also to be representing Bear, right? So Bear and his colleague Marcus are awarded this scholarship for their bravery, but no amount of money is enough to award them for the sacrifice that they did. It is very selfish of them to, you know, or I mean, not selfish, selfless, I'm sorry. It's very selfless of them to advocate and stand up for the rights of their peers. You know, they're sacrificing their own education, they're sacrificing their future career goals, you know, but it's because of people like Bear and Marcus who use their privilege as white people in these spaces to create safe spaces for us and for their peers and for themselves as queer people as well. But it is with great privilege and honor to be standing here to honor Mr. Bear Bright from Texas.
pneumonomicroscopic silicovolcaniconiosis. It is a made-up word, I hope you know, but it's actually in the dictionary, which you might also know. However, this specific word in the dictionary is also stated to be made up. And that is how I feel going to a public university where the president uses his Christian beliefs to cancel the drag show that me and my friends and a bunch of other friends decided to put on for charity. Walter Windler is a character. You might have heard a little about him. We call him Windy on campus, just to make him mad, preferably. There was this whole protest about it. We marched around the fountain. We chalked up the chalk all around the fountain. It got power washed away every single day. All the other chalk on campus sat there except for ours. Just a little taste of what Windler is like. He posted his whole feelings about what drag shows are as a message to the entire university, faculty, staff, and alumni, and students. I'm going to read an excerpt of what he said. I believe every human being is created in the image of God, and therefore a person's dignity. Does drag show or preserve a single thread of this dignity? I think not. So we decided as students to do something about it. It wasn't specifically us. We definitely helped facilitate after and become an area where Buffs for Drag, the other student group, started the protests. They helped us get it all set up. They were always behind us the entire time, protesting for the drag show to still be hosted on campus. Fortunately, it wasn't. We had to host it off campus, which cost us a good chunk of money. We had to do a fundraiser, a GoFundMe for it, in which we were able to raise enough money to host the event, to hire police for the event, to put on the event, and then still be able to raise $7,000 for the Trevor Project in doing so. And through this process, we also entered a lawsuit against the president. And I'm also going to be here to update you on that a little bit. So we got our court case back from Kazimierz in the Panhandle. He is the same judge who tried to ban Mrs. Sulfaprone, the abortion drug. So he dismissed our case, saying that Windler had qualified immunity as a government official to cancel the drag show to protect children on a college university hosted by college students. So we have appealed to the Fifth Court of Appeals, and so hopefully before the end of next year, we should get our case back from that. Thank you. But the fight is not over at WT campus. A few more things have come out recently that Windler has proposed. He has proposed first a textbook-free campus where the university will cover the price of all the textbooks for the students. But they don't have the money for that, so we're still going to be paying for the textbooks anyway. The second thing that came out was WT received a donation of $20 million from the Fairleys. They are a fairly conservative group of people in Amarillo. It was to create the Hill Institute, which is a conservative think tank with its goal of putting religion and education together on a university. So that's another thing that we are having to fight back with. But I know that of all the people that have supported me on campus with, if it's Buff Allies, the faculty-led support group, if it's the theater kids who are out there marching in drag as protests, that we are going to keep up the fight, at least against this and against the university for doing stuff like this. Because it's a public university. Anyone should feel safe and be allowed to go to a public university without fear of backlash or religion. So that is our current goal to continue going forward. We plan on putting on another drag show in the spring called the Don't Be a Drag Show. And we're gonna go forward with this, and I'm really excited. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna try and host it on campus, and we can't wait for Windler to try and shut us down, because it'll add just more fire to the case, saying that it wasn't just a one-time thing. Thank you.